Welcome back to number 3 in our video series about corporate and organizational culture. And in today's video, we're going to talk about what can undermine or damage your organization's culture. So I think it's important to put an asterisk here to know that there is also the potential that you just have an established culture. That really applies to new teams, new organizations that are just coming together and forming. Obviously, you'll have to build your culture from scratch there. But if you're a leader coming into an existing team or you've been in position a while and you want to think about how to improve your culture, one of the things you want to know first is what's happened to it? Why is it off track? What should I be watching for that can undermine our culture if it's already where you want it to be? And there's a couple of different options here. The first is that things just slide over time. And here you can think about any relationship in your life. Maybe it's a romantic relationship or a marriage. Maybe it's a friendship. If you don't invest in that over time, if you don't keep it moving in the direction that you want it to move in, things just sort of gradually slide away. People grow apart. Sort of the standards of care that you have before can start to slip a little bit. And you just find yourself with this sense of, we aren't what we used to be. We aren't what we once were. And that is often what can happen with culture. And I would really just describe that as this phenomenon of taking your eye off the ball. Other things have become more important. Maybe your team or your organization has been through a really stressful time. Maybe there have been market challenges. But if you don't keep culture at the forefront, if you don't continuously monitor it, continuously sort of take the temperature and invest back into it, it will just gradually erode on its own over time sometimes. The other thing that we see that happens quite often are mergers or acquisitions, where someone comes in, they've brought two companies together, or maybe a larger company has acquired a smaller company, and now there is this influx of another culture coming into that organization. That's a really significant point where we start to see culture breaks or misalignment. We talked in the prior video about the importance of alignment and how that's a benefit of culture. When you have a merger or an acquisition, and then you have more than one culture trying to come together, there feels like this tension between the existing culture within one organization and the new culture that is coming in. And we always try to encourage people to think about what's that next culture going to be, rather than this tug of war between which one is right. How can we together create something new? The other thing that I'm going to point to that's really undermining to a strong positive culture are failed change initiatives. So if you've tried something big in the business, if you've tried to achieve a pivot, if you've tried to put in place a new mission or new values, and that's really been a flop, it hasn't resonated with employees in a felt way, you haven't gotten it over the finish line, or even if there have been significant delays or sort of over budget kinds of realities, those are the places where you can start to feel the culture fray. And that's really because employees start to doubt, who are we? What are we about? Can we get the job done in the way that we said we could? Certainly, there are any number of other things that can also happen. You can have a toxic leader that comes in. You can have unresolved team conflict, like we talked about in our prior video series. But these are 3 things that I just want to point out that specifically undermine culture that you may miss if you're sitting in that leadership seat. So I hope that you will come back. We're going to talk next time about the biggest misses and mistakes that leaders can make when they're trying to build a positive organizational culture, or when they're trying to turn around their organizational culture. So hope you'll join us for that video as well.